Anjanas education. I feel sorry that I was not able to upload any video for you all due to some of the online classes that was going on from a long time, and also I didn't have any kind of break before that. So after a long time I would like to welcome you all again, and I am coming to deal with the topic daffodils. Actually we have already discussed, and we already discussed about daffodils, the setting, the theme of the poem. Actually it is completely based upon flower that is known as daffodils, which the color of that flower is golden. And as I told you in the previous stanza, in the very first stanza, the writer was wandering lonely as a cloud, ଗୋଟେ ବାଦଲ ଭାବରେ ଘୁରି ଫିରୁଛନ୍ତି without any kind of destination, and he was wandering like an aimless person. And suddenly he saw and he noticed something. And what was that? A group of golden daffodils, a host of golden daffodils, which is known as a group of golden daffodils. Kodi dekhle se beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing. They were moving, they were dancing in the bridge. Bridge kole se choto ba haluka pavan re. So if you have not watched my video, I would like to request you all, please, you should go to my playlist plus to second year English for art, science and commerce students. And today I am moving to the second stanza. Continues as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. So we would like to pronounce some of the words which we will have to write. जार अर्थ गुड़ाक आम लिखा पड़ो कि डिफिकल्ट वर्ड्स अच्छी ये, लाइक वी कैन से मिल्की वे. मिल्क वे कहले या बुझाऊँ गैलेक्सी पृथ्वी पृष्ठ कथा कहुच्छी. दैट इज हियर इन द नेक्स्ट स्टांजा व सेकेंड स्टांजा. आई मस्ट से द मीनिंग ऑफ दैट. दैट मीन्स छाया पथ जोड़ा आम कहूँ, छाया पथ अधिका ओडिया कहवाक गले. कंटिन्यूज एज द स्टार्स दैट शाइन. दैट मीन्स the golden daffodils have been compared with the stars. स्टार मन स्टार सहित तुलना कर तारका पुंज सहित तुलना करा गोल्डन daffodils को. एंड ट्विंकल ऑन द मिल्की वे. दैट मीन्स दे गिव काइंड ऑफ लाइट, गोटे प्रकार लाइट से प्रदान कर चकचक करुँच. दे आर शाइनिंग ऑन द स्काई, जोटा कि से आकाश रे चकचक करुँच इन द टाइम ऑफ इवनिंग. दे स्ट्रेच्ड इन नेवर एंडिंग लाइन. इट हैज बीन सेड about the golden daffodils, they stretched in never ending line. That means it is become movable. And as I told you, there is some similarity between the golden daffodils and the stars. That is why the writer has mentioned stars and twinkle on continues as the stars that shine. तारका भली गोल्डन डाफोडिल गुड़िक तारका मैंने जो साइन कर स्टार गुड़ाक जो साइन कर आकाश चकचक कर गोल्डन डाफोडिल्स भी बुलूची गोल्डन डाफोडिल्स मूव करुच्ची. एज आई टोल्ड यू इन द प्रीवियस स्टांजा दैट गोल्डन डाफोडिल्स वे आर मूविंग एंड डांसिंग इन द ब्रिज. दैट दे स्ट्रेच्ड इन नेवर एंडिंग लाइन अलोंग द मार्जिन ऑफ ए वे. बे कहले ह्रद, मार्जिन कहले बॉर्डर. दैट मीन्स दे ऑल आर गेदर्ड देयर लाइक द स्टार्स विच शाइन ऑन द स्काई. जो आकाश रे चकचक आलोक प्रदान कर तारका माने से भली भाव में दोज गोल्डन फ्लावर्स आर गेदर्ड देयर एट द मार्जिन ऑफ अ बे. गोटे ह्रदर से ह्रदर कूले कूले से घूरी बुलूँ. एंड द राइटर नोटिस्ड इट हु वाज वंडरिंग एज ए क्लाउड. 10,000 सो आई एट ए ग्लांस. गोटे थर में मुझे गुड़े गोल्डन डाफोडिल्स को देखकर आई गॉट फ्लीज्ड. I have never witnessed this kind of scenario before. That is what mentioned by the writer here. से कथा कहते जे आ पूर्व मुझे केबे भी सिचुएशन बा से सिनारियो मु देखी. सो हियर वी कैन राइट अनदर वर्ड स्प्राइटली विल कहले आम लिखि परिबा लाइफ, जोटा जीवंत भाव रे. 10,000 सो आई एट अ ग्लांस. मु एका थर करे 10,000 फूल बा एते संख्यक फूल देखी मु आश्चर्य हो गली. द राइटर हैज मेंशन हियर tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. Tossing कहले it is we can mention the meaning of tossing. TOSSING. tossing होची move करिबा. They were moving their heads in sprightly dance. They started dancing. से dance आरंभ कर. It was a sprightly dance we can mention. आम कहीपर होची स्प्राइटली डेन्स कले जीवंत भाव अति जीवंत देखा जाउथला एटा राइटर को दैट इज व्हाट मेंशनड हियर सो इन द वी आर मूविंग द नेक्स्ट स्टांजा so we are moving to the third stanza. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. That means, some extent, the writer is able to compare those daffodils with the waves. Waves कहले जुआर जुआर सहित तुलना करछंती but he has showed that the daffodils are great and they are so active as compared to the waves. They have surpassed through their activities and they have surpassed waves. ସେମାନେ ଅତିକ୍ରମ କରିଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ ସମସ୍ତ ସୀମାକୁ ଡେଇଁଛନ୍ତି କେଉଁମାନେ those daffodils and waves କ'ଣ ହେଇଯାଇଛି ବା ସେଇ ଜୁଆର କ'ଣ ହେଇଛି ପଛରେ ପଡ଼ିଯାଇଛି when it was going to be compared with those daffodils. The writer tried to compare with the waves but he failed. कहीं से waves को भी अतिक्रम कर जाइए with the shining lights and with the brightness of those daffodils. कौन है तार जो उज्जवलता से चकचक द्वारा आ तार जो एक्टिव मूव द्वारा कौन है daffodils waves को सरपास कर जिबा अतिक्रम कर देछि and that is why the writer had some extent failed to compare with the waves. काहाकू daffodil को waves सहित तुलना करिवारे चेष्टा करिसंती किंतु विफल होइसंती because he noticed that the golden daffodils are so active, they are movable and they are in cheerfulness. So a poet could not but be gay. So to watch that scenario and after watching that scenario or that environment and that circumstance, the writer has felt that he himself was not able to stop to be happy. खुशी हेबार आउ से निवृत्त रही पार नांती आउ आनंद एते ही जाइचंती. He has been attached with the scenario which was being noticed before him, जोटा कि तांकर सामना रे घटुतला ताकू से देखुचंती आ वॉच करचंती and he is not able to stop himself. से तांको आउ कोन करचंती ताकू आउ से अटकई पार नांती निजको. So in such a jocund company we can mention the meaning of jocund कहले खुशी मेरी जार अर्थ खुशी अत्यंत खुशी आनंद विभोर हो जाइचंती the writer with the company of those golden daffodils which was shining, which was moving, which was dancing in the breeze. जे छोटो जो हल्का पवन रे मूव करिवार लागिछि. A gazed and gazed but little thought. Gaze कहले चाहि बाबा watch करिवा एठी. The meaning of gaze कहले I gazed and gazed but little thought. Whenever the writer was watching that scenario which was happening before him, he was not able to stop himself, as I told you in the previous line, and here he had said and mentioned one line for that scenario. लिखिचंती I watched and watched but little thought. मु देखुतली and I was in the imaginational world. मु वर्तमान गोटे एभली प्रकार पृथ्वी रे थिली and I was not able to stop myself to think something about that scenario. मु निजो को अटकई पारली नहीं. I was forced to stay there, I was forced to watch that, I was forced to notice that and then I got pleased when I watched that. मु जेतेबेले सेटा जिंस देखिली से सर्कमस्टेंस बा से परिवेश देखिली मु सेठी आकृष्ट हो गली एंड आई डिडंट स्टॉप माई सेल्फ टू बी हैप्पी. मत खुशी होबार कौन जिन अटकई पारा ना. इट वाज लाइक वेल्थ फॉर मी व्हिच इज मेंशन्ड इन द लास्ट लाइन ऑफ थर्ड स्टांजा. व्हाट वेल्थ द सो टू मी had brought. It was kind of scenario which the writer has never witnessed before. एभली जगह को एभली परिवेश को से केवरी उपभोग करि नथिले आगुरु and it was his first and he witnessed such a scenario. It was a jocund company. Everywhere there was cheerfulness. सबुआडे थिला केवल उत्साहितर वातावरण and they all were shining, dancing and moving in the breeze. And those daffodils were seen कोडी देखा जाइतिला besides the lakes, beneath the trees, and as I mentioned you, it was also like it was seen in high over vales and hills. पहाड़ उपत्यका सब जगह देखा जाउतला and the writer was watching that beautiful and unique scenario. So we are moving to the next stanza, fourth stanza. I would like to repeat what I mentioned in the previous stanza. Actually those golden daffodils which were moving in the breeze was wealth for the writer and the writer is not able to forget those kind of scenarios and that beautiful scenarios, se sundar manoram drishya ko se bhuli parunahanti, and he got pleased when he saw those golden daffodils, and eta thila gote perfect sampad tanka pai, gote mulyaban sampad jota the writer didn't want to miss and lose. So in the next stanza for opt bele opt kochi अनेक बार when on my cot I lie, ଯେତେବେଳେ ବେଡ୍ରେ ମୁଁ ପଡ଼ିଥାଏ, when I take rest or when I sleep, in vacant or in pensive mood ବୋଲେ ଦୁଃଖ, pensive କହିଲେ ଦୁଃଖ, vacant ବୋଲେ ଖାଲି ଥିବା ସମୟରେ ବା when the writer feels lonely, ସେ ଟାଇମ୍ରେ କ'ଣ ହୁଏ, they flash open that inward eye, ମୋର ଅନ୍ତରର ଚକ୍ଷୁ ମଧ୍ୟକୁ they come to enter into my inward eye, ସେମାନେ ମୋର ଅନ୍ତରର ଚକ୍ଷୁ ଭିତରକୁ ପ୍ରବେଶ କରନ୍ତି, and they disturb my mind. The writer has been completely disturbed by that scenario and he never wants to miss that scenario. ସେଇ ପରିସ୍ଥିତି, ସେଇ ପରିବେଶକୁ ସେ ଭୁଲିବା ପାଇଁ ମାନେ ସେ ପରିବେଶକୁ ସେ ହରାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହୁଁନାହାନ୍ତି, because whenever he feels lonely and whenever he is in pensive mood, ଯେତେବେଳେ ଦୁଃଖର ମୁହୂର୍ତ୍ତ ଅତିକ୍ରମ ଦୁଃଖର ପରିସ୍ଥିତି ଦେଇ ସେ ଗତି କରୁଛନ୍ତି, only thing it comes into his mind and that is what, that is golden daffodils, the dancing daffodils, the moving daffodils, ସେଇ ବୁଲୁଥିବା ଉଡ଼ି ବୁଲୁଥିବା ଖେଳି ବୁଲୁଥିବା ସେଇ ଫ୍ଲାୱାର ଗୁଡ଼ିକ ରାଇଟରଙ୍କର ମନକୁ ଆସିକରି ପ୍ରବେଶ କରେ, and the writer gets disturbed, ସେ ଆ ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ଟିକେ କ'ଣ ଡିଷ୍ଟର୍ବ ହେଇଯାନ୍ତି, and he forgets everything after that, ସେ ତାପରେ କ'ଣ ହେଇଯାନ୍ତି, ସବୁ ଜିନିଷକୁ ଭୁଲି ଯାଆନ୍ତି, and ଏଇଟା ତାଙ୍କୁ ସେତେବେଳେ it gives pleasure to the writer when he is in pensive mood and when he feels lonely, ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେ ଏକୁଟିଆ ଭାବ ଆସେ, ଯେତେବେଳେ ଦୁଃଖର ମୁହୂର୍ତ୍ତ ଆସେ, ସେତେବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କ ମାଇଣ୍ଡକୁ ଆସେ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ କ'ଣ, the golden daffodils, the dancing daffodils and the moving daffodils, ସେଇ ଫ୍ଲାୱାର, ସେଇ ଗୋଲ୍ଡେନ୍ ଫ୍ଲାୱାର୍ସ ଆସେ, it comes to enter into his inward eye, ସେ ତାଙ୍କର ଅନ୍ତର ଚକ୍ଷୁ ମଧ୍ୟକୁ ପ୍ରବେଶ କରେ, and it disturbs to the writer, ତାପରେ ରାଇଟରଙ୍କୁ ଏହା ଡିଷ୍ଟର୍ବ କରିଥାଏ, which is the bliss of solitude, ଯୋଉଟା ମୁଁ କହିଲି bliss କହିଲେ ପ୍ରମାନନ୍ଦ, ଯୋଉଟା perfect happiness, which is mentioned here in the next page, and which is the bliss of solitude, and that perfect scenario and that perfect or that beautiful scenario is like a wealth for the writer, as I mentioned you in the previous stanza. Here in this stanza it is mentioned ଏ ହେଉଛି ପ୍ରକୃତ ଆନନ୍ଦ, and to feel that loneliness, ସେ ଏକୁଟିଆପଣକୁ ଦୂରେଇବାର ଗୋଟିଏ ମାତ୍ର ଉପାୟ ହେଉଛି କ'ଣ, to get happiness, and how the writer feels happy when he feels or when he imagines and when he thinks of those golden daffodils, those dancing daffodils, ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେ ଖୁସି ହେଇଯାଉଥିଲେ, କେତେବେଳେ ଖୁସି ହେଉଥିଲେ, ଯେତେବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କର ଦୁଃଖର ମୁହୂର୍ତ୍ତ ଚାଲିଥିଲା ବା ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେ ଦୁଃଖ ଅନୁଭବ କରୁଥିଲେ, ସେତେବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କ ମାଇଣ୍ଡକୁ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଆସି ପ୍ରବେଶ କରୁଥିଲା କ'ଣ, that golden daffodils, and after that he feels happy and his mind and his body was full of happiness, ସେତେବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କର ଆତ୍ମା, ତାଙ୍କର soul ଖୁସିରେ ପରିପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ହୋଇଯାଉଥିଲା, and after that he was able to feel that loneliness, ତାପରେ ସେ ତାଙ୍କର ଏକୁଟିଆପଣକୁ ଦୂରେଇ ପାରୁଥିଲେ, and it was that kind of quality we can mention which is mentioned by the writer here, ହେଉଛି ଏଭଳିଆ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୱାଲିଟି ଥିବା ଫ୍ଲାୱାର ଯେ ସମସ୍ତ ଦୁଃଖକୁ ଭୁଲେଇ ପାରୁଥିଲା, and the writer was one of them, ରାଇଟର ଥିଲେ ସେଭଳି ବ୍ୟକ୍ତି ମାନଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟରୁ ଜଣେ ଯାହାଙ୍କର ଦୁଃଖ ଦୂର ହୋଇଯାଉଥିଲା whenever he thought of those golden daffodils, and then my heart with pleasure fills, ତାପରେ ମୋର ଜୀବନ, ମୋର ଆତ୍ମା ସବୁ ଖୁସିରେ ପରିପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ହୋଇଯାଉଥିଲା, and it was also dancing with the daffodils, my mind and I was also dancing with the daffodils and I also danced with the daffodils, ସେତେବେଳେ ରାଇଟର କ'ଣ କରୁଥିଲେ, ସେଇ ଡାଫୋଡିଲ୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କର ସହିତ ଡ୍ୟାନ୍ସ କରିବାକୁ ଲାଗୁଥିଲେ, and I told you that he watched and he, as I mentioned you, he was a unique person that he watched a scenario which he had never witnessed before, ଏଭଳିଆ ଗୋଟେ ଉପଭୋଗ କରିଛନ୍ତି ପରିବେଶକୁ ଯାହା ସେ ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଉପଭୋଗ କରିନଥିଲେ, ଯାହାଦ୍ୱାରା ତାଙ୍କର ଖୁସି ପରିପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ହୋଇଯାଉଥିଲା, ଏବଂ as I mentioned you that the writer got perfect happiness after watching those or that golden daffodils. So in this way the topic is ended. If you have any doubts, I am here to help you all. You can question me, you can post some comments, and I would like to request you to subscribe my channel to get latest updates.